If you do not produce, you will not thrive. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how talented you are. If you cannot sit down with a disciplined work schedule and produce, nothing else matters. And I will say this has been the biggest needle mover for me as an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for nearly 15 years. I've had a lot of successful businesses. And if you asked me, Jared, what's the one thing that's helped you succeed at the level that you have? My answer would be deep work. I wouldn't be talking about email newsletters. I wouldn't be talking about Facebook ad campaigns. I wouldn't be talking about any specific marketing strategy. I would say it is deep work. Now, the two books that have helped me with deep work, the first one was The One Thing by Gary Keller. In this book, he talks about a productivity system where you set aside 4 hours to focus on your one thing. And I implemented that right after I read the book. I would set aside 4 hours to focus on my one thing, the goal that needed to be accomplished right then. A few years later, Cal Newport came out with the book Deep Work and really coined the phrase and the term. And when he did that, he gave all sorts of tactical information. So if you are interested in going deep into deep work, those two books are what I highly recommend. But as someone who has done this for a number of years, I've got 7 tips to help you find that deeper work so you can really move the needle and accomplish things so much faster than anyone else out there. All right, the first tip is to use a focus aid, and I've got 3 suggestions for you. So a focus aid is something that's going to enhance your cognitive ability. The first one we all know about, caffeine. You can consume it however you want. This could be tea, coffee, it could be a caffeine pill. However you want to take caffeine, if you're not too sensitive to it, play around with the dosage, but ultimately caffeine is the tried and true cognitive enhancer that will help you with deep work. The second one is alpha GPC. This is a choline compound that will greatly increase or enhance your level of focus. If you haven't tried it, dosage is around 300 milligrams to 600 milligrams, and you need to play around with this to make sure that you tolerate it well. Some people have reported stomach problems. Some people get headaches from it. Me personally, I don't have any negative side effects, even when I go up to the upper limit dose of 600 milligrams taken at one time. Now, the third focus aid, slightly controversial, is nicotine. Not in the form of a cigarette, but nicotine gum is what I recommend. And I'm not even going to say I officially recommend it. This is up to you. And here are some rules around nicotine. Nicotine is probably the most potent of the 3. It's also the shortest lived. It will only work for about 1 to 2 hours. Now, most people are scared of nicotine because of cigarettes. It just has a really bad negative connotation with it. Also, it's an incredibly addictive substance, so you have to be careful with this one. So I'll tell you what I do. When I use nicotine, which is fairly new for me, I don't use it very often, I will use the gum and I will use it in a 2 milligram dose, and I will never have more than 2 milligrams in a day. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing, I will never use it more than 2 days per week. And in all honesty, I go weeks without using it at all. This is a very infrequent usage for me because I don't want to become addicted to nicotine, knowing it's a very addictive substance. But if you are doing a public speaking event or somewhere where you just really need to be on, or you need to just focus on some deep work and really get it done, nicotine is a great way to do that. Again, like I said, this is relatively new to me, and I'm utilizing it in small doses and very infrequently to avoid the addictive nature of the substance. But I can say it is very effective. So those are the 3. You got caffeine, alpha GPC, and nicotine. I don't know if I'd recommend stacking all 3. I'd choose 1, 2, or 3, maybe 2 at the max. But again, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not actually recommending anything. I'm just telling you what I do. The second tip is to block time and black out. So block the time on your calendar early. Make it a recurring habit if you can. But you want to block that time out, whether it's 2 hours to start, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever you can mentally handle. Make sure that's blocked on your calendar and people know what you're doing. Block it out and have it on the calendar so you don't have to worry about anything interfering with that. Next is to black out all communication. Put the phone on airplane mode. Don't allow anything to notify you. Don't check social media. Don't check email. You are focused. You are locked in. If this is new for you, it's going to be hard at first. You might just have to stare at a blank screen or wherever you are trying to create something, but it's okay. You will get used to it and you will get better at it, but you do not want to be scattered. The research on task switching is clear. It slows you down. It makes you dumber. So you need to block everything out, have it blocked on the calendar, and then black out every form of communication and just do the work. Tip number 3 is to have some sort of ritual. So this is going to be different from person to person. It can be as simple as, okay, I sit at my desk, I finish my cup of coffee. When the cup of coffee is finished, I then begin my deep work. Or maybe you want to listen to a certain song, or maybe you want to do some breath work before you start. I do feel like there should be an entry ritual that you should set for having deep work. For me, I like to do a combination of all those things. I like to have a cup of coffee. I'm not going to work until that is finished, which I've normally started well before I got to my desk. And then I'm also going to listen to some music that kind of gets me in the mode for creation. It's not, anything crazy. Mostly it's like this instrumental brain music. But after I do those things, I'm locked in, I'm starting to focus, I'm getting ready to do the deep work. I really highly recommend making some sort of ritual entry process to your deep work and take it seriously. Tip number 4 for your deep work is to have a target. Have a very defined target. What I'll see a lot of people do is they'll block out the deep work on the calendar and they'll say 4 hours of deep work. It's blocked out on the calendar. And then when they get to doing the deep work, they don't really know what they're doing. They just want to sit there and do 4 hours of work. You need to have a very specific target going into the deep work day. So it could be something like, hey, I'm going to write 3 video scripts and a newsletter during this deep work session. Now you have a target. You can be done when it's done. If you finish in 2 hours instead of 3 or 4, just be done. Set a target for that deep work session. Work on those things. As soon as one is done, you move to the next. That way you don't break your flow. Again, task switching is what we're trying to avoid here. So it's not just having a 4-hour time block of uninterrupted work. You ultimately want to be able to say, this is exactly what I'm going to get done in this deep work session. Know that the night before the deep work session begins. Tip 5 is to make it a habit. So this would be recurring in your calendar. I know everybody's different with how much deep work they can actually squeeze into their day, week, or even month. So at a minimum, set a monthly deep work cadence. Maybe it's once per month, you block out 4 to 6 hours for really deep work, if that's all you can afford to time-wise put into your calendar. Or you can do weekly. Hey, these 2 days I have 4-hour blocks for deep work. Or if you can make it every single day, which is kind of what the one thing recommends, 4 hours every single day, deep work block. Then after those 4 hours, you can do all the other crap that goes along with being a business owner and just doing life stuff in general. But I highly recommend daily. If you can't fit that in, make it weekly or monthly. Tip number 6, be organized. If you use a note-taking software or you have a place where the work happens, know that is where you're going in to do the work. If you are scattered on your computer, clicking around different Chrome tabs, or you're opening up different things, chances are you're going to stumble across something you don't need to be a part of, which is checking your email or social media or something else that's going to distract you. Or it might not even be a distraction like that. It might just be different work that's not the deep work in the target that you set for the day. And so you can find yourself bouncing around, and we want to avoid that task switching. So you want to be very organized. Hey, I'm logging into this one thing, or I'm opening up this note-taking app, and this is where I'm living for the next 2, 3, 4 hours. I am creating, I'm doing this thing, I'm working on this project. Be very specific and very organized with your work. That way the chances of you getting sidetracked are very, very minimal. Now, tip number 7, get some frickin' sleep. You know you need to sleep for any of this to matter. All of the focus aids I was talking about, caffeine, alpha GPC, nicotine, those are going to suck if you don't actually have a very good foundation of sleep. So the night before, have your shutdown ritual. Don't look at screens, make it really dark and cold in your room. All the things that you need to do to get those strong 7 to 9 hours of sleep, wherever you fit in that spectrum. Get as much sleep as you possibly can. It makes deep work so much easier the next day. Like I said, the biggest game changer for me as an entrepreneur has been deep work, the ability to sit and produce. I don't know many people who really set out to master deep work, but if you do, it is an absolute competitive advantage. And it's only becoming more and more of a competitive advantage because people are becoming more scattered. They're scrolling more frequently with social media. We see that people's attention spans are decreasing. This is bad for people, good for entrepreneurs who are in a competitive market. Because if you want to be competitive, all you need to do is learn how to focus, not get sucked into all the distractions. And when you can produce more, you will thrive.